Hey everyone, Susan Campfield here. Happy Tuesday. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Tonight we're going to make a fun fold card. If you watch my videos, I'll tilt this a little bit. If you watch my videos, you may know that I love fun folds. Anyone else out there a fan of fun folds? I think when you've been crafting for a while, you get excited by something a little different than the typical fold in half card. So that's why I like fun folds. And I think it's fun for the recipient too, to have something a little bit different, a little surprise when they get their cards. So tonight we're going to be once again playing with the beautiful Eden's Garden collection. The Eden's Garden collection is an early purchase opportunity. That's for the bundle, the stamp sets and dies, which we're using tonight. And then there are 3 products that are limited edition products that are only available while supplies last. So the early purchase opportunity, the bundle, will go into the January through June mini catalog, but the designer series paper, the cotton paper, and the gems are only around for a limited time. So let's go ahead and flip the camera and get started. We got Judy here from Ontario, Canada. Awesome. Teresa's here. Yay, Teresa, you're watching live. Fantastic. Myrtle is a fan of fun folds like me. Thank you. Hey, Cindy. Jules here. Jean's here. Excellent. The gang is all here. Teresa, awesome. Jean, awesome. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to clip over here. Fun folds are fun, aren't they, Jean? All right, let's look at our desk here. I think I've managed to shove almost everything out of the picture. You can imagine, if you will, all in the perimeter is a bunch of Stampin' Fun stuff, because that would be spot on. I wanted to start off by mentioning my class is now available to join. This is the Eden's Garden specialty class. This class is an online class, and if you place a qualifying order, which is $50 before tax and shipping, then I send you the packet for this card. So you'll get all of the die cuts, all of the materials to make, not this card, for these 4 projects. And you also get the video tutorials and the written tutorials, which of course are super helpful so that you can recreate the cards and projects later. So let's take a really quick look at that. The class includes this cool card box, this craft box, which is the perfect size to put cards in. So let's slide this awesome tag off. This is made with the Tailored Tags dies, which have been on back order, and I believe are back in stock right now. At least I got one of my customers' back order just showed up. So beautiful tag that you could repurpose for many different things, including a bookmark. But you could also regift this box if you didn't want to gift the tag or gift the cards that are inside. But these are the beautiful cards that we're making in the class. We've got vellum back here. I don't know if you can see that. It's not showing up very well on camera, but in person it's just super soft and elegant with these beautiful dies. We also have this gorgeous card with these fun dies. We're playing with this one tonight too. Just love this paper. This one does have some embossing on it. Lots of tips for you in the videos that I am filmed. I've done this class with Linda Dalkey, who is a demonstrator in Australia. She's my Stampin' bestie down there, and we thought it would be super fun to do a class together. So I did 2 projects. She did 2. This one is a Joyfold card, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Flips open like that and like that. So another fun fold that you can recreate. And of course, you've got your envelopes for the cards. So that is the Eden's Garden class. If you're interested in that class, you can contact me. My email is susan@suestampfield.com. I hope that's not too confusing. In college, I was known as Sue, and that's when I met my husband, and he still calls me Sue. And so he helped me come up with my business name quite a few years ago of Suestampfield. But my first job here in Minnesota, there was one of the salespeople's name was Sue, went by Susan, or went by Sue. So I went back to Susan, and so that's kind of stuck. So hopefully that's not confusing. But just give me an email at susan@suestampfield.com. Or if you get my project sheet emails, you've got all of the class details. We're in the one that came out on around 2 a.m. Central Time Sunday morning. So and that one had this project sheet in there. We've got things sticking to it. The project sheet for this fun fold card, the WV card, was in that email. So I don't think I didn't even finish this one. I don't have the inside parts on. There's a finished one floating around here somewhere, but let's get started with tonight's project. I'm going to go ahead and show you tonight's project. Oh, good. We have more people tuning in. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining in. So tonight we're going to do a fun fold project, and I'm going to bring in my papers. So this is one of the patterns in that Eden's Garden paper, and I wish I knew where. Well, I know where it is. It's across the room. I cleaned my desk by taking piles of cards off of there. But this is one of the gorgeous papers in there. This is another one. And what is cool about this fun fold is that this one shows off both sides of the paper. And you actually use a 12 by 12 strip for this card. And why I really wanted to use this pattern. Now, I know it's hard to see online. Can you see the little flecks of gold? There's just little polka dots of gold in this paper. It's quite lovely. In person, it's just got these cool crisp greens and then the crisp white and then the little dots of gold. But the other side of this paper is beautiful. It's an ombre. And because this card, you're going to be able to see both sides of the paper, I really wanted to use this ombre. And I was so excited when I got the pack, when I saw this ombre, but then I thought about it, but thought, boy, if I cut that up for cards, I'm not going to get that full ombre effect. But what I love about this card is we get the whole effect. So I'm excited to share it with you. Let's go ahead and start by doing our scoring. I did not score this so that I could share that with you. I also realized I knew I cut it. I just didn't bring it over. Okay, let me grab our Simply Scored scoring tool here, and we're going to score this paper. So this designer series paper is, can it even fit on camera? Okay, yeah. It's 4 inches by 4 inches wide by 12. So out of one sheet, I can get 3 of these, right? And we're going to go ahead and we're going to score this, and we're going to score it at 2.5 inches. Helps if I'm at the top of the scoring thing. 2.5 inches, 7 3/4 inches, and 10 3/4 inches. And I was inspired this card by this card. I got a card in a swap by demonstrator Angie Leach, and I just loved this fold, and so did some of my team members. In fact, my team member V immediately asked me what the dimensions were, and she recreated it with the Blackberry Beauty paper, and it was absolutely gorgeous. So, all right, let's go over those score lines really quick because I did that kind of fast. So again, our paper is 4 by 12, and we scored at 2.5, 7 3/4, and 10 3/4. Okay. And oh, thank goodness. With this one, I because the different ends of the paper, I probably should have done it this side up because I wanted the narrow end the narrow score, the tinier section, smaller section to be the darker color. So let's just pretend I purposefully did it that way, but I'm not totally sure that I did. So, but it worked out. So, so maybe I would have been smarter to do this side up since I was being particular about which end I wanted to wear. And I think you'll understand why in a minute when we go over that. So that leaves that middle section is 5 1/4, which of course is a perfect layer. So, all right, let's go ahead. Get that out of the way, and we're going to go ahead and put our card base together so you can see how this fold works. Then we'll do a little die cutting and of course get it all decorated and cute. So I'm going to fold on those score lines. So this is going to be the bottom of our part card. This is that 2.5 inch section that we first did. And that next score was the 7 3/4 one, and that is going to fold down to form the top of the layer piece. And then the other score is going to fold back up. And that gives us that. That's where I wanted the darker color. Now, I'm not saying that the lighter color would have looked nice too. Again, it's personal preference, right? And you can see the two do overlap each other a little bit. I want this piece on top. And then we're going to layer that onto a card base. I'm going to use the Evening Evergreen. Now, Evening Evergreen and Soft Succulent are the two colors that are in these papers. Those were two of our newer in colors that came out in the annual catalog this past summer. If you haven't had a chance to invest in those, they are lovely. So, oh, I see why. All right. Couldn't figure out why I couldn't see your comments on my phone, which is what I'm filming with. It's because I, yeah, never mind. Technical error on my part. I didn't close out my settings. All right, so I'm going to put a little adhesive, and it pains me to put adhesive on this pretty side, but I do want that beautiful ombre on the inside of the card to show that off. You could do it the other way. You could do the ombre on the outside and then have this pretty pattern on the inside. You know, it's entirely your choice. And then we're going to layer this piece right onto our base. Our card base is, again, Evening Evergreen, and that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So this will now be opening up like that. So it's like a gatefold card with just some little bit different dimensions because it's that 12 by 12. Now we can go ahead and we can actually adhere this part down. That sort of flap piece can be folded down. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to decorate our card. And that's where these other pieces I have over here come in. We're going to just do one die cut thing. Now, if you don't have, one of my customers contacted me about this class and placed an order, and she's doing the class. She actually doesn't own a die cutting machine. You don't need a die cutting machine to do the class. I have all of the die cutting done for you. So, and with this card, we're going to do some die cutting, but you certainly could skip that and do a punch or some just decorate it with a strip of paper that's not cut. That would be very easy to do. I love dies, and so the Eden dies are absolutely gorgeous, and we use every single one of them in the class. I'm going to be using this one once again because I absolutely love it. This is a very unique die in that one side cuts and the other side does not. So this can cut a fancy edge on whatever size you want. I have mine cut to 4 inches long by 1 inch so that I can, that's going to give me the finished size I want. So I'm actually going to line up the edge over here with the edge of my cardstock. Now, this edge doesn't cut. So if I had a wider piece, let's pretend that this is shorter. If I had a wider piece, if I put this edge that doesn't cut here, I would end up with a wider scallop piece because it's only going to cut the left side. I hope that makes sense. So it's a really versatile die because you can make it wide, you can make it skinny, you can do, you know, whatever you want. I do want to overlap the end just a little bit from the end of my cardstock. Otherwise, it might not cut all the way because sometimes they shift a little bit. So I want to make sure it cuts all the way. So I'm going to extend a little bit beyond the paper and then a lot beyond below. And I think a Post-it note would be a wise choice here. I really hope I didn't move that just now. Ah, well. When you put a ribbon on, I'll cover up any little boo-boos, right? And then we're going to go ahead and crank this through. All right, and that is our only die cutting this evening. Well, thanks for sharing, everyone. I really appreciate that. Really appreciate your support. All right, we're going to pull off our Post-it here. And let's see our pretty thing we made. So I'm going to bring in my Take Your Pick tool with the die cutting brush on there and the sponge that comes with it. I'm going to pull this. Oh, there, it popped right out. Look at that. I don't even have to do any poking, but I'm going to go ahead and clean my die out because, you know, that's like good manners, right? Don't want to leave the dirty dishes in the sink. Gosh, I never do that. Haha. All right, so this looks all cleaned out and ready to go. I'm going to just toss that away and set my sponge aside, and we're ready to do a little stamping. Yay. So I'm going to bring our card back in here, and this lovely piece is going to go right there on our flap, and it's really going to be highlighted by that dark evening evergreen. That's why I chose to go with the darker one. But again, you could try it with a lighter, and that might be really cool too. So let's see what I have here. I've got some different pieces. See if Susan can remember what size this one is. Oh yeah, I do remember. Okay, we're going to start with our piece to the front here. I'm going to grab my evening evergreen pad. Again, if you don't have the evening evergreen and the soft succulent, they are really lovely colors, and they are kind of a tone on tone. So this is a lightened up version of this color, which means they work really well together. A little bit of a bluish grayish green, I would say. That border die is your favorite die in the set. Yeah, I have to agree. I'm pretty in love with that one. So one of my favorites, my favorite stamp in the set is this one that says "Sending Hugs," because I think that is such an important statement right now. Once again today, I was hearing people online talking about the overwhelm and the stress of just life in general right now, and so I think sending cards right now is more important than ever. And so I kudos to you all for keeping up with crafting and getting those cards in people's hands. And I do think it absolutely makes a huge difference in the world. So thank you for doing that. I'm going to go ahead and open up my punch here. I'm just going to slide the lock mechanism right there. And I'm going to slide this in. Now, we have had this punch for a very, very long time. And we had another one that was similar to it, and I always mix up the names. So I'm sitting here hesitant in naming it. So if anyone is watching and remembers, is it Designer Label Punch, or is it Designer Label Punch? I think that's what it's called. But let me know. Please let me know if I'm incorrect on that. So I've got my Sending Hugs here, and then I'm also going to stamp on the inside. These are stamps from the set. You could certainly, this would be a nice wedding card, a nice anniversary card. I mean, really, you could use your other stamped sentiments to customize it for whatever event you want. Dear friend, how are you? Almost straight. I hear dogs going downstairs, but my son is watching them for me. So thanks, Joe. All right, so we've got that stamps. Okay, yeah, that one's it was sloping downhill a little bit. So love that two-sided paper, right? Get it right there. Oh, I need to leave this open. So one of the things about this stamp set, which I could show you if I had it. Oh yes, here it is. If you love leaves like I do, it has a lot of really pretty leaf images in the stamp, and the leaf images are they're stippled, and so they stamp really cool. And I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. But I do want to put a paper underneath because I'm going to be stamping off a little bit on this one. So I'm not stamping off, I'm going to be stamping off the side, I guess I should say. So I'm going to ink up again in the Evening Evergreen here, and I'm going to take my Sending Hugs stamp, and I'm going to stamp these leaves coming in. Now, originally I thought, oh, maybe I should stamp it off, and I thought, well, I'll try it full strength first. Well, because of the nature of this set and how they're made, see if I can pick it up with my fingernails and get it to focus there. You can see the stems stamp very dark, but the leaves are stippled. They're like textured on the rubber, so you get the lighter look, and it's so elegant and pretty. I just love it. So I'm going to just do some leaves coming in from opposite sides there to decorate my Sending Hugs. And then I'm going to do the same technique on my inside piece, my inside message. I always love to do a little stamping on the inside. Is it the Everyday Label Punch, Pam? I Believe you? Yes, that's what somebody else said too. Everyday label. Okay, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I was complete. We used to have one years ago called designer label. I guess that's one of the drawbacks of being a demonstrator for 24 years is my memory is pretty lousy, but every once in a while I'll remember something that we don't have anymore and I have the wrong name. So I just brought those leaves on the inside of the card too. So let's go ahead and pop that piece in. That one is all set. We'll just be covering up that boo-boo on the back. No worries. I'm going to open it up and we'll just center that inside this ombre. Now this piece is 2 3/4 by 4. And I could have even gone smaller. I wanted to make sure that I want to make sure it's straight. No, that's not what I was going to say. I wanted to make sure that you could see that pretty ombre around. So there we go. We're going to fold that up, and now we're ready to decorate the front side. So I'm going to close up my ink pad because I'm actually done with that now. But I am going to grab some scrap here of the Evening Evergreen, and I'm going to take the Everyday Label punch. Thanks, guys. And I'm going to punch 2 more of these out. 2 more. I know, crazy, right? So the reason I punched out 2 more is I want to layer this. I'm sure some of you have maybe seen this trick before, but maybe some of you haven't. So I'm going to, these are exactly the same size, but I want to layer them, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half. So that's in half the portrait way. And I'm going to put some adhesive on it on each end. Oh, goodness. Adhesive challenge tonight. And I'm going to stick it on here so that just a border shows. Okay. So I'm putting sticky side up so that it sticks to the back and lining up the sides and just leaving a nice little border there on the top and bottom. But I also want a border on the sides because I just do. So I'm going to cut this one in half the long way. So I guess that would be horizontal. And I'm going to do the same little trick and put some adhesive on it. And that is going to go right on the sides. And there's going to be just a little teeny tiny secondary point. Oops. You have to push down, Susan. Oh, okay. Do you ever, I hope you guys talk to yourself too when you craft, because I certainly do. All right, so I've got that side piece, and if you can see, there's kind of 2 little notches now at the top and the bottom. It gives it kind of a little extra fancy look. If you don't like that, you can nip those off. I kind of like it. So I'm just tucking that back there to get the border on. All right, so there I have my sentiment for my card. I'm going to be adding some gems to that because that's how I roll. All right, so we're going to put this pretty border on here. Now this is a little bit, I've cut this again only at 1 inch, so I've left myself not a lot of room for a tape runner. So I'm going to get my multi-purpose liquid glue, but I'm just going to run it on the straight part at the top. I don't need to worry about tacking down the scrolly leaves. They're going to stick just fine. Teresa says she can't imagine trying to craft around a phone. She could barely get things straight when you're right over it. Yeah, I struggle with that a little bit too, but you know, where there's a will, there's a way, right? So I'm going to glue this gold piece on, lined up with the top part of that folded up portion of our designer series paper. Right there, and then I'm going to wrap some ribbon on it. Now this ribbon is called, it's Evening Evergreen Chevron Weave Ribbon. It's quite thick. It's a beautiful dark color that is, and texture that's really going to go nicely with this paper. I did try the sheer Evening Evergreen. You could certainly try that. It was a little too see-through for my taste for this particular card. It's lovely on the box. I love it on the box with the craft behind, but with this one, I liked the solid one better. So slide that over because I'm going to tie a knot way over here on the side. And that's going to decorate our... Oh, Denise talks to herself too. Yay, Denise, we're the same. Same. Someone's got to tell me what to do, right? All right, just tie a knot here. So just in case you struggle with knot tying, I've pulled them so that one's going up, one's going straight down. I'm wrapping the bottom one behind the top one, which forms a hole, and I'm poking the bottom tail through that hole and pulling it tight. That gives me my knot. I'm just going to trim that off a lot. Oh, let's get this. I have a pair of paper snips that I only use for ribbon to keep them sharp. The other ones cut sticky stuff and everything else. So I had to grab the right one there. So there we have our card. Now remember, this part's going to go on top of that bottom portion. And this piece is going to go right here. And we're going to attach that with dimensionals. I'm actually going to take the dimensionals. Sure you are, Susan. Where are they? Here they are. I'm going to take the dimensionals and stick them right on this part. Going with 2 right there. The reason I stuck them on the flap and not on the back here is that this piece is going to hang down below, and I didn't want to put one down here and have accidentally glue my card shut. That would make me very sad. Probably could have put those over a little farther, but it'll stick. All right, so there we've got our sending hugs. So our card is done. No, it's not. I lied. We have to put embellishments on it. What am I even thinking? All right, I'm going to use the Gilded Gems for this. Now, I certainly could use the limited edition garden gems on this card, but I love playing up the gold on this one because there's just that tiny fleck of gold in the background, and by using gold accents, it really makes that gold pop. Let's see. Let's bring in our... Actually, I'll grab my Take Your Pick tool. I have several. I'm going to grab the one that doesn't have the die brush on it. And I'm going to put my Gilded Gems. That's a large one right there. I'm going to take a medium one, put medium one up here at the top, and then a small one down here at the bottom. So now our card is done. Had to add those little final touches. Love ribbon. I love embellishments. Thanks for sharing, Kathy. So this is our finished card. So you open up the top flap and the bottom flap, and you've got the beautiful stamped leaves on the inside from the Eden's Garden stamp set, and the very, very pretty die cuts here on the front. And it's just a really fun fold that you could use any of your pretty designer series papers to recreate this fold. You do want to be careful that the paper that you're choosing for this fold, both sides coordinate. Some of our papers, one side is completely different pattern, that might fight with it. So you want to pick some of the papers like this one. All the ones in this pack, both sides coordinate well. And I particularly like using this pattern to get that full ombre effect from that side of the paper. So it's just ideal for that. But again, you could customize this with any of your papers, or just pick a pattern that is going to have the both sides. So oh, that's okay, Lynn. I'm sorry you're joining a little bit late, but we had a time change here. Maybe you're in Arizona. So here in Minnesota, we had a time change. So that probably tripped you up. So I apologize for that. But no worries, you can catch the replay here. I'm going to flip the camera. So again, remember the Eden's Garden class available. $50 order, you can do the class packet, or with for $10, you can purchase the full tutorial videos pack, and also there's some supporting documents that have all the measurements in both imperial and metric, plus project photos, and yeah, all the measurements so you can recreate. So I'm going to flip the camera here. There we go. Thanks so much for being here with me tonight and let me share this fun fold card with you. Take care, everyone. Have a great evening, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.